Recording in progress. Oh, are we doing all from the beginning?
In the Pop Culture Cupid podcast, we talk about how pop culture influences our expectations in relationships. I'm Alison, love coach, here to help you single people find your way back to love.
Healthy communication. I'm Michelle. I help singles embrace themselves and their singleness, as well as develop a healthy self-relationship. We bring some juicy stories from our own love lives and dating, and it gets pretty interesting. Be focused, we're going to be to the point, and no digressing.
Self-awareness. Follow, share, subscribe, enjoy.
And like and comment.
If it's shockingly bad, we just re-record another one.
Yeah. No, I think there's some good stuff that you can just nitpick. Recording in progress.
In progress.
Hello.
I think we're never gonna kind of start talking without having recording, because we're not we've always got this recording in progress, which is good. I was going to say which is Pamela, and making it a whole French English. My brain right now is just
I get you. That bilingual brain, it can get you sometimes. Yeah,
definitely can.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. My bonus daughter, she's 4 now, and I've been trying to get some English in her as much as possible, because I'm going to be speaking English to. First of all, English is important, and then second of all, I'm going to be speaking English to my son, so her half brother, and I just don't want her to feel left out. So I've been, it's been a couple of years that I've just been, and the other day she goes, Hariana, and does all these sounds of just like they sound English, like she understands the whole hot potato thing.
Yeah.
And then she stops and she goes, coconut.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Very, very funny.
Yeah. But
so for the people watching, it's Christmas.
Such Christmassy vibes. Unfortunately, I don't have Christmassy vibes here. Maybe I should put up some lights as well. But
I was thinking, do you put up decorations for Hanukkah?
Not really. I mean, it's not as like a huge culture over here. I know in like abroad, it's like a huge culture. At least what I see on YouTube and things like that, with people like decorating their house according to the season or according to the holiday. And here, maybe a bit, like there's different holidays that have different kind of like decorations, but personally I never really put up much decorations, but too lazy for that, like every time having to switch out decorations and whatever.
I think it's the Americans do it best.
Oh yeah, it's a great way to suck money out of people, having all of these huge shops with a bunch of different season-oriented decorations. And but it's cool, like the pumpkins and the things that people do.
I mean, I would love to be in America as of like mid-October to, I don't know, late February, because Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and I'm sure they go nuts on Valentine's Day. I would
love to go to like this small like little town in America.
And just to like soak it all in.
Yeah, one of those Hallmark movie cities, towns, where they have like the little farmers markets and
Oh God, there has to be Christmas movies coming out. It's gonna be great.
There's so many of them. I've already watched a few on Netflix. They have a ton.
Yeah, this is the life of having like a child part-time and being pregnant. Like you either watch Frozen or Wreck-It Ralph like on a loop, or just go to bed at 9.
Yeah. So the life of an adulting.
I know. It's like, where do I sign up to stop doing that?
So holiday season must be more, I don't want to say complicated because it has a bad connotation to it, but it must be more complex, having not only a partner, but a partner that comes with a child.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like logistics. Well, because I think first of all, so JT and I, this is our second holiday season together. Um, and by the when it was our first holiday season last year, we had already been together for like practically a year.
Hmm.
So we knew we wanted to spend it together. So that in itself was just kind of like, okay, so your family, my family, what are we doing? And then putting Julia into that situation, it's just like, so we need to figure out with her mum, and her mum's parents are divorced, so she's got
Oh,
two
wow.
Christmases to deal with and everything, and it's just so
Yeah.
nuts. So with bonus children, we decided, you know, before last Christmas, gave you
I
my heart,
gave you my
uh,
heart.
that we would alternate Christmases. So we would have,
Yeah.
because our families are just all over France, like, her family isn't anywhere near us, and, his family isn't near us, my family isn't near us. So we can't do 24th on one side and 25th on the other.
Yeah.
So we decided, we'll do the swap around the 27th every year. And that's just, the way that you know, it's just the way it is.
It's just, yeah, having to
And
deal with what is.
yeah, and we decided um to have a Christmassy theme event, the four of
Hmm.
us. So we did it last year, and we're going to do it tomorrow. So tomorrow we're taking her to see Father Christmas in this kind of like really Christmassy area. I'll send you pictures.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
so we're going to do
Ah,
that tomorrow. But this means that we have, so there's a Christmas with her mother and us two, and obviously that my bonus daughter. And then we've got Christmas with my parents on the 21st,
hmm.
and then Christmas with his parents on the 24th, and then Christmas with his brother on the 25th.
Wow, sounds like a lot of fun.
And
Lots
I'm
of
like,
celebrations.
yeah, keeping in mind I'm by that time I'll be a month away from my due date. I'm just gonna be exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the key to all of this is, it's just kind of making sure you think about these things in advance, because you don't want to be. My parents assumed that we were going to be spending all of the holidays with them because they are the
Hmm.
closest to us, and they were, and wishful thinking. And so, I kept saying to JT, like, we need to figure it out. Like, we need to figure out the exact dates of when we're doing the switch and when everything is
Hmm.
happening, because it's important for people. And he goes, I don't care about Christmas and blah blah blah. Neither does my family. But his family thought we were going to spend the whole of the Christmas week with them. And I was like, well, that's just not what's happening. And obviously, like, we're an important attraction because, I'm pregnant, and Christmas is, it's amazing with kids. And so, because we've got Julia, everybody wants to spend Christmas with us and things. Yeah, I think, you want to think about it in advance and make it, very clear. And I think about yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have to say that I wish I could be in Europe for Christmas. It's one of
Yeah,
my favorite things to do is just be in Europe during Christmas time. It's just like so magical. But yeah, family politics can get very rough and a lot of people can get insulted. And I think the key is to have discussions in advance and have a system. That way
yeah,
people can't go like, oh, but I didn't know, and it's not fair, and why are you only just telling me? And and they know that there's a system that's fair for everyone. And I mean, although it's very hard to to not be with the family that you want to be with during the holiday, but you have to accept it. It's what life is about when you get older and the family expands and your child has their own family now,
exactly.
and so you have to adapt to the times, and it is what it is, and you have to be okay with not everyone being together the whole time, and especially when so many when people live so far away, it's hard.
Yeah, and you want to see because we've got this thing where I'm thinking about my kind of like immediate family. So that's, I mean, I love my parents, but that's no longer my parents. My immediate family is Julia, JT, and my future
Yeah.
son. And so I'm thinking about that. But and then I'm thinking about my parents and his parents and like how we're going to make this work. But my parents are thinking about so us, obviously, and their parents. And they don't want
Yeah.
any elderly people being alone on the holidays because, well, you don't want you don't want them. So,
Yeah.
which grandparent is going to spend with which of my aunts, uncles, or us, and it becomes this whole thing. And I think there are two kind of parties to this of just like there's either people who just don't give a shit and just show up on the 25th wherever and don't care. And then there are people who want to make sure that everybody's happy and yeah, that there are no elderly people left alone. Like on my English side, I don't have any grandparents left, but my cousins have their other grandparents. Do you see what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And so my aunts and uncles, they're thinking, okay, well, this Christmas, like if we spend it in France with you guys, then the other grandparent is on their own because the other side of the family over there is doing something else. And it just becomes this whole kind of web of, you know, my Christmas with my cousins is impacted because their cousins on their other side of the family is somewhere else. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And, you don't complain about it, but it is just becoming this whole thing. And you have to deal with that when you're single, but then it's times two when you're in a relationship.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, each status has its own complications with holiday times,
Yeah.
and I think in the aspect of having like, it's never ending because you can go on your own core family, like your partner, and your child, but then there's parents and there's
Yeah.
siblings and there's cousins, and at some point you have to go, okay, enough is enough. I cannot, you know, be with everyone and I cannot appease everyone. And I have to, at some point, I have to say, this is my holiday too. And I want to have a good time. And
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be worried the whole holiday of where am I going next and am I going to make it on time and who's going to get insulted and who's going to hold a grudge and it just gets so overwhelming. And at some point, you have to think of yourself and do what's best for you,
Yeah.
what you want to do, and what's best for your family, especially with a child involved. And you want to create, because it's a very thin line between the holiday being a happy festive event and it being this chaotic family politic polit,
Yeah.
politic mess, political mess. And for us, our holiday season is more like we have holidays throughout the year, but like our holiday season is September, October, depending on the Hebrew year and how it aligns with the calendar. But it's like a chain of like a bunch of holidays. And this year was like such a mess for us because you have us and then you have our partner's family, and my parents are divorced, and so there's like this whole thing, and no one really prepared anything, and everyone has to like, why am I hosting again, or why isn't everyone together? And it just sucks when things aren't well thought out or well planned, and when one person feels like they're hosting too much, or the one person feels like no one's inviting them enough, and it's just it's an art to know how to balance everyone out and you know not overwhelm yourself with it. But yeah, so I think it's complicated no matter your status. Although,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it may have been like a lot of times, like when we're single, we we think it's like the worst thing in the world to be alone and to like come alone to these events. But I don't know, there's something also very refreshing about it where you don't have to worry about another person and another family politics joining into this whole mess and whatever it is. But yeah, sorry, I'm all over the
No,
place.
no, I mean it's no, don't worry about it. It's yeah, it's just the and what you said about it becomes political. So I'm lucky that my family kind of takes it on the chin. They
Yeah,
so they'll say, "Oh, it's fine, we don't care." They care.
they care. Of course they
They
care.
care, but they'll just, adapt and they'll understand. And I think they'll be happy that we're still making time for them around the Christmas period. Because when we were growing up, I had family in France and family in England. So we're not gonna, there was it was either one family or the other, and we were never gonna kind of switch around. Whereas here, it's possible to kind of, see each other between the 20th and the 31st. Like it's possible to see both families quite easily. Um, but yeah, it becomes so political. Uh, even, we're talking about Christmas and dealing with the politics and everything, but like summer holidays, we usually spend it with my family just because they've got a house by the beach and and it's just it makes some sense. But we can tell that on JT's side of the family, like they don't really appreciate it. And oh, you spend her last holidays with them. It's just, and it was, yeah, it's a bit complicated. And then it's the thing where, I've got my opinion about how things are handled on JT's side, and he's got opinions on how things are handled on my side. But it's the thing where, what at what point are you going to voice, your disagreement? Um, and I think never. I think he
Yeah.
deals with his family, I deal with my family, and like, we've got opinions that we share in private, but we don't intervene publicly.
Yeah, it becomes very complicated when two families like bring their own politics, or trying to think of a better word for it, but like they bring their own baggage into this thing, and you have to know how to distinct between what is important and what isn't, and what should be left out of it and what needs to be brought up and everything. And yeah, it just at some point you just have to understand that, it is what it is. And you can't always remember, okay, where were we last year? Who hosted? Who this? Who that? And
Yeah.
it's just like it helps to have a system. It helps that, over here we all live fairly close to each other. And you just have to be flexible and go with the flow and understand that the point at the end of the day is to have fun and to enjoy yourself. But
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, especially, when you think about, children and pregnancies and illness and work and things like that, and so all these things that kind of impact your life and therefore Christmas or events, you know, I'm still undecided on whether or not I am going to go to the south of France for Christmas with his family
mm,
because I'll be a month away from my due date. And, right now I'm feeling fine, but it's next week and we never,
yeah,
it goes up and down. And so we tell people this and they are disappointed and things. And they say things like, oh, but maybe we'll come up. And I was like, well, no, because if I'm not feeling good to come down, I won't be up for company.
yeah,
And it's these things of just, yeah, putting your foot down because if you start thinking, and it's the same with, so we're talking about Christmas now, but when you're getting into a relationship and expressing your needs and everything, it starts with your family. Obviously, if your family pushes your buttons, it's because they're the ones that put the buttons there.
yeah,
And it's if you have to be able to express your own needs and say, listen, this is not how I want things to work, and I'm not gonna jeopardize my well-being so that everybody else can feel fine. Because you are not jeopardizing your own well-being for me, which is, it's understandable. Like you just want to, everybody wants to do the best for themselves, and yeah, so it starts with that of just, you want to, some things with, for example, having a stepchild and things, you want to figure something out, but then you want to be as flexible as possible and just say, this is what I need, and this is, I'm putting my foot down. Um, and you're going to disappoint some people along the way, but if you disappoint yourself and everybody else is happy and you just have a shitty season, then it's not really worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also have sorry, you also have to find time to be with yourself and with your core family. Like, I mean, this is gonna sound like, rich people problems, but like we have Friday night meal every week. It's like this, part of the Shabbos, like the Jewish weekend. And every week there's like so many, like we have to be with his family, we have to be with my family, which consists of my mother, my father, and my sisters. And so like there's all these components of like every week we have to decide where to be, and we have to split our time equally with everyone. And then we never get time to just be with ourselves, like
Yeah.
just the two of us, and have our own little thing. And it's great. We love being with family, and we love these Friday night meals, and it's amazing. I'm not complaining for a second. But it also goes like for the holidays that you also want to find time to just be with your core family, because you're building something here, something new. And in order to do that and to make it work and to create your own new traditions, you have to have time to actually create them and find your way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming like maybe with you, especially with having a child involved and a child on the way, you know, each family has its own traditions, like holiday traditions or whatever lifestyle traditions of like whatever. But and so, you each bring your own thing, and you have to decide together what works for you and what doesn't. Like, what Christmas traditions do we want to have in our new household, and what we don't want. Like, it's like
Yeah.
you're bringing your traditions that you grew up with, and JT is bringing his, and then you have to decide what you want to keep for the new family you're creating.
Yeah, and also, when you think about it, so I was just talking about, bringing over grandparents and things like that. There is a point where the kids aren't the ones that go over, it's the parents that come over.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of starts now in the sense that, building a family and things are changing, or not even, you don't have to be in a relationship to kind of want to be the one that people come to, in the sense that if you've got your own home and you're earning money and you just want to have people over, then it doesn't just happen. You have to express it and say, no, no, this year come over to me and do that because I want to do my own thing. And parents have to deal with it. And saying this in 30 years' time, I'm gonna be living the situation on the other side again of just like my kids are not gonna want to come over to me. They're gonna want me to adapt to them. And I think,
Part of the
then there's something
evolution.
to, yeah, and it's a part of and life expectancy and living longer and things like that. That's just the way it is. And I think this will only happen if you start saying what you need and what you want in a clear, non-aggressive way. I was talking to a
Mm-hmm.
friend this morning who whose boyfriend is, actually, I can't really stand him anymore. And she said, "Oh, but he sent a message to my family wanting to talk and nobody replied." And I said, "What was the text?" And the text was so aggressive and so negative. I was like, "Well,
Mm,
no wonder they don't want to respond." And she said, "Yeah, but he made an effort." I was like, okay, he made an effort, but that doesn't mean it's still a good message.
yeah.
And uh and that's the same, and it's a similar situation here. It's like you can say, screw you, I'm 30, I've got a kid, I want to have Christmas at my place. Or you can say, listen, I'd like to host Christmas at my place. it's things are changing and be happy for you to, just adapt. How does that feel? Same result, different message.
Yeah, it is. It is all about the message and how you, what's the word I'm looking for? Talking about bilingual minds. I can think of it in Hebrew, but it doesn't come in English right now. But it's like it's all about how you deliver that message. And there's also the understanding, the same way that you want to get what you want, the other person on the other side wants to get what they want as well. And you have to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
Then you have to find a way that everyone's happy. Like a lot of times what we do in our family is just we just get everyone together and that's it, instead of having to split everyone's time. We may do, if it's like, I don't know, one of like, the New Year's, the Jewish New Year's Eve or the Passover Seder, whatever it is, we would just get, my sisters in laws and my parents and everyone all together, and it's just one big happy family. And it just, it's part of, adapting to having all of these amazing new people in your life instead of like trying to split everyone's time, just
I
bring
mean,
everyone together.
if that's doable, I think that's the best solution.
Yeah. I know it's not always doable for everyone, especially not every holiday and whatever, but
Yeah.
it could be fun having like even in Christmas or like just having this whole huge Christmas party at home and everyone comes, everyone's happy, everyone gets some time. So,
I think the most that I've ever been at a Christmas dinner is gonna between 16 and 20. And that's a lot and not a lot at the same time because it's four siblings
yeah.
plus the siblings' mother, then the siblings' partners, and then their kids, which is where
Yeah.
I fall. So it's only four families kind of reunited. Well, three families because my aunt was had Down syndrome, so she didn't have
Mm,
she wasn't married or anything.
yeah.
And so when you think about it, yeah, so that would have been five times three, 15, plus my aunt 16, plus my grandmother 17.
Yeah. Not too
Uh
bad.
yeah, not too bad, but it's just like, but yeah,
It's
I
a lot
mean,
of people, it's overwhelming, and you have to have a like, you also have to have this system for this. Like every person chips in some way. You can't have
yeah, yeah,
one person or one family planning everything for everyone.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean, so I mean, all this to say that Christmas is complicated for everyone. You
Yeah.
want to make it a good time. You want to be accommodating, but it's complicated for everyone, and I think you just need to do the best you can.
Yeah, and try not to overcomplicate what you don't need to
Yeah,
overcomplicate because it's already just so complex. And just to try to have fun with it and not, get sucked into the politics of it or
yeah,
you know, the getting insulted and holding grudges. And there's always going to be someone who's just wanting to make everyone feel bad for not being included or for not being the star of the whole show. And it just, you know, do your
yeah.
thing.
Think about
And
yourself first.
yeah,
What's your ideal scenario, and then work towards that in the
yeah, and
most, diplomatic way.
I think it really is important to find time this whole holiday season, to find time, also to spend with yourself and just reflect and do something that you love with yourself to nurture that relationship and with your partner or with a friend or with a group of friends or with your family. But like, I think it's so important to find time to also like, split yourself up a bit
Yeah,
between the people and just
yeah.
feel the season and feel the love that you have in your life and just make it
And
feel
it's not,
special instead of complicated.
yeah, and it's not about the day, it's about the season.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just because, there's one day that's technically more important than the others, it doesn't mean that,
Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's true.
yeah, it doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that, the people that you spend your time with on that day
Are
have to
more
feel more
important.
special.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, more important or more special, whatever. It's just you have to make everyone feel special.
Yeah.
So,
Tell us what you guys are doing for Christmas and
yeah.
happy
What are your
holidays.
holiday? Yeah, happy holidays and let us know your holiday traditions and how you split your time between all the many people in your life.
Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.